asking the most traumatic questions to people and they're dumb enough to answer them.
Yeah. Well, this one time I walked in on my mum and she's getting fucked by a drug dealer, and I guess that was pretty fucking traumatic, eh?
Man, I saw one last night when I got home, and it was like of American schools, and literally it was this dude asking students, it's like, what is something so messed up that's happened in your family, or something that you've done sexually that no one knows about?
Yeah.
Some dude was like, oh, my hand was in a sling, so I got my little brother to jerk me off. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
This dude was like 17.
That's insane.
I was like, damn.
I have so many questions, but they're all questions that as soon as you start asking, it's like, bro, why are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I was like,
how old's the fucking brother?
Yeah, if
You know
you're
what I mean?
17, how old's
And
your younger
also,
brother?
one hand was in a sling.
Yeah.
Like, just use the other hand.
It makes it feel like someone else is doing it anyway.
Oh my God. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot deeper issues, because if it's like that with American high schools, it has to do with the fact that the Americans haven't discovered kettles. They still don't use kettles. They literally only discovered kettles last year due to TikToks. They boil their water for their shit, their terrible coffee and tea on the stove.
That's how I fucking do my water.
But they don't have any kettles.
I love how you base everything down to fucking not having kettles in society. It's like, you know what you cunts are going wrong? Kettles. Yeah. And they're like, what are you even saying?
Yeah, that's
kettles, bro. Kettles with a K. And you put your fucking water in there, heat it up.
Yeah. I saw a report today on Facebook, and it was like about a TikTok, and it's this American girl like divided the internet because she doesn't understand apparently why Australians use their handbrake.
Right.
So your car's not going to roll away. I mean, apparently no one uses it in America. I mean, we'll use your brain. It's clearly taking pressure off your actual brakes.
Yeah.
That's why the handbrake's there.
Yeah.
But I commented on it, and I was like, what do you expect? Americans haven't even discovered kettles yet.
Yeah, and now the fucking all the people that'll read that, there'll be the 5% that are like, I see what he meant there.
Yeah. They're dumb.
Yeah. Nah, dude, that's fucking... Actually, I have noticed that. That's something that, like, peripherally I picked up in movies, that they don't use handbrakes in movies. It's like, obviously, most movies are American or based around things in America, and they just pull up and they put it in drive, you know, and you see the car rock a bit from going in drive.
Yeah.
And if it's a manual, I guess they leave it in gear. Bro, I always leave it in neutral, put the handbrake on.
Yeah.
You know? And I know that leaving it in gear is more, like, mechanically, it's more likely to not roll away left in gear than with the handbrake on left in neutral, but still.
But you're also putting less pressure on your gears, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. The idea of the handbrake is that, well, fuck, I don't know. Now, the problem, see, the thing is, when you're not on fucking camera, you can just say anything and it doesn't matter. Yeah. As soon as you say it on camera and it ends up on the internet, they're like, they've got a handbrake for fucking this reason, dickhead. And you're like, oh, you know what I don't fucking care about is handbrakes, you know?
Fuck your handbrake.
Oh, don't let me make an assumption and fucking be a little bit wrong on the internet. Fuck me.
It's never happened before though, bro. Everyone that comments that what they know is always correct.
Yeah, dude. I assume that everyone who's commenting anything anywhere is a certified professional, and that's why they're commenting.
Oh, heck yeah. That's like at work. When anyone comes in and tells me stuff, I overhear them like impressing people of their knowledge. And they do it wrong. They tell them the wrong facts, and I'm just like, oh, I've learned something new.
Yeah.
Cool. I was wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All the people that I've been speaking to must have been fucking idiots, because you have the information.
Yeah, and it's crazy how they know so much, like, considering, like, I've been doing it my whole, like, adult life.
Yeah. It's fucking weird, though. Like, so you've been in the service industry, because my earliest memory of you, I think, was something to do with radio.
Yeah, that was back when I was, like, 18, 19. I got offered a job at the radio station, because I was working at Boost Juice. Yeah. And I was the loud ginger kid.
Yeah.
And got offered a job as a promo dude at Hot FM and all that. Yeah. And then that was going really well, and then I got offered an internship. Right. So I worked under a guy named Aloe. And he now has a TV show on 7 Mate and runs his shows over in New South Wales, and he taught me everything. And then from that, I was doing radio, doing stuff there, and Booze Juice, and then I got into booze because I was getting offered a job from a good buddy, right, who had Barbados. Yeah, right. So that was back when I was 20.
So you've always kind of, like, I guess it's not the same industry, but it is in the same way, because it's like entertainment service.
Well, I've been customer service, so in hospo for 14 years.
Right.
So I started in Macca's.
What's the most bullshit thing you've seen in 14 years of hospo?
Man, one thing was actually just hilariously funny. So I was managing a whiskey dive bar in Melbourne, in Fitzroy. And so I used to have this squirty bottle with just water in it.
Yeah.
Because I treat people like they're dogs sometimes.
Yeah, naturally.
It's just, you're going to act like one.
Yeah, it's essential.
But like, they're adorable, but sometimes you got to put them in line.
What have you got? Bring it up here.
Come here, Louis.
Lusif. Hey! Fucking get caught up in the cords. Louis, come here. Come on. No, she's an idiot. No, she's just going to look at us now.
That's right. Love you too. And I had this squirted bottle, and there was these two, the guy and a girl. They started hooking up in one of the booths across from my bar.
Awesome.
And I'm just like, all right, good work. Just kept going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, now it's a bit seedy because for the bar, which is what I do currently at Bill's, is like with zero tolerance against sexism, racism, homophobia, and making people feeling uncomfortable in general.
But if you were watching them and also jerking off, that'd be like a double negative, cancel each other out.
100%.
Until one of you fucking finishes, in which case...
And we're both uncomfortable.
You got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's like, who's going to go first?
Yeah, dude. You're allowed to do it, but you're not allowed to finish.
Yep. And the cameras are there.
Oh.
Yeah. No, so, and because like we've had people complain about that stuff in the past, makes you feel uncomfortable, which I was like, absolutely. Like they're literally hands grinding each other. And
yeah, that's rough.
We're not a freaking... that club.
Grab and mound, bro.
Yeah, it was just all up in there. So I got my trusty steeded water bottle. And I set the spray motion to
hard
fuck you up.
Yeah.
To get that distance.
You call that a rope?
Oh, it was a rope. It was a lasso.
That's a fucking H2O rope.
Oh man, it was no Gatorade. That's what it was. And, so I'm standing there at my bar, and I'm like to all my staff, I was like, watch this. And they're just standing right across, like on top of each other. Like the dude is laying on top of the girl on the booth seating by this point. Yeah. So I'm spraying them. So many squirts, like right in the back of the head. It took a few, like at least 5 squirts for him to stop.
Dude, he must have been close.
Oh yeah,
he would have been.
He was going for that dry hump.
That's mad.
And then they stopped. I was like, hey guys, like please, there's none of that. Like you're welcome to hook up and that, of course.
Yeah,
but there's a line.
Pick a shadow, you know?
So what did they do? They get up. She's like, so sorry. Then she walks to the behind the bench, because then the way the bench is set up, there was then a backing.
Right.
And next thing you know, he picks her up on top of the benching and starts snacking on, because I'd walked away.
Rightio.
They didn't expect me to look back.
Alpha move,
absolutely. He was like, she mine.
Dude, I would have loved to have been her in that moment.
Oh, I'll get to that though. She was a story, yeah. And then I look back, I'm like, get my trusty spray bottle, squirt, go up closer, squirt them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, if you're that horny, like seriously, just go home.
Yeah.
I'll even call you a fucking taxi.
Yeah, just fucking
go home. Like if you obviously want each other, just go. Like I'm a wingman, by the way.
Yeah.
They stopped. Then they walked towards the toilets, and we had separate male and female toilets.
Yeah.
She goes in the female, he follows.
Right, naturally.
That's when I I was just like, nah, okay. One thing you do, separate a toilet, don't fucking walk into another gender's toilets. Especially with your intentions to hook up with a girl.
Yeah.
Because the way it is over there, it's very, like, you watch everything.
Yeah.
So many creeps. And, went in there with my trusty bottle right in his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, get the fuck out of my bar. Dude. I was like, seriously, bro, you are acting like a child. And said to her too, I was like, so are you. Like, you guys are acting like horny teenagers.
We've all been blinded by fucking horniness. I'm not going to say that I'm better than him. You know what I mean? But I just think it's one of those things where, like, after the second warning, you got to fuck off.
But an hour beforehand, she was trying to get my manager's contact number.
Ooh.
My employer, Nathan.
Hey, look.
It was great.
She was ambitious girl. You know, I respect ambition in a female, definitely.
I mean, we've had some crazy times, but that was like the funniest, like, one when it comes to like my reactions to people.
Yeah. That's actually quite a fucking. It's funny how, like, if you squirted me with water in public, especially on a Friday or Saturday night or a night out, I would immediately be so uncomfortable.
Yep.
That's such a like. That's such
and yet they didn't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because they kept going.
Dude, lust is a fucking wild thing, bro.
Oh,
lust is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
And like you got to think like that's just the extreme end of the spectrum. Like the shallow end of that is like the shit that we see on fucking Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, that's why like fucking 16 to 23-year-olds flex on the gram.
Yeah.
It's because they're trying to fuck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They just like it's.
But
like,
literally, they have like you look at the behind the scenes. They still live with their mums.
Yeah, dude.
Or
dude.
They don't even have a skin routine.
It's fucking. It's fucking crazy, man. Because like now, like how old are you now?
I just turned 28.
So you're 28.
Yeah.
I turned 30 this year. So like I feel like, and like you might, for me personally, at 28, I wasn't having these feelings. This has only been recently. But like I'm starting to realize now, like some of the things that you thought you were doing in your early 20s, now you start to see like, oh, that was an attempt at trying to fulfill this particular goal I had for myself.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's crazy now looking at like when you reflect on that in yourself, and then you like I see 21-year-olds or 18-year-olds, and I'll see them doing something. I'm like, I get what you're doing at the moment, but I kind of already know it's fruitless for you. But I know that it's only valuable if you go through the whole thing and you realize that for yourself.
100%. You need, because I mean, throughout you need the experiences to learn.
Yeah.
And that's with any fucking circumstance.
Yeah.
But it's like good to know, like when you come to that realization as an adult, it's good to know, because then if you have people younger than you that are going through different stuff and you can relate to a lot of things, you can be like, if you're going to do this, stick with it.
Yeah.
Because then you can come out with a learning curve.
Yeah.
In different ways.
It's funny the wisdom that ties into that, because I kind of feel like sometimes I'll see, like just naturally because of what Black Ink is, I find myself keeping your finger on the pulse. I have a lot of friends that are quite a lot younger than me, and sometimes you see them going through things, and I'm at a point now where unless they need my help in a way that is so direct, like it's something that I specialize in or that I do, or they know that I have a strength in that particular field, I know it's actually better just to step away and sometimes watch them crash.
You got it.
You have to. You have to. And then when they're fucking all fucked up and they've admitted that they've crashed and they don't know what's going on and they go, what do you think? That's when you go like, here's all of my help, here's all the advice. Because then they're in a place to listen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You need them to admit.
Oh yeah, not even...
In a lot of cases.
Not even to you, it's to them.
Yeah, of course. The main thing is they need to admit to themselves, because otherwise how are they going to grow from that? But if they're going to admit to... When they admit it to yourself, that means they've admitted to themselves.
Yeah, that's like an indication. And that's the thing, like even when they have that acceptance in themselves, the distance between that and admitting it to someone else, especially like a mentor or a good friend or whatever, that gap is huge, especially as a male.
Oh, 100%, man.
Sometimes that can be a year.
Yeah, literally.
But it's kind of cool when, especially from my point of view now, as the old guy or the older guy, is knowing that like, I've been around for like a year now. I've seen you in this hell good moment, and then it turned to a shit moment, and now we're getting back to a good moment again, and you're in a place to talk about it.
Yeah.
I've been aware of this the whole time. Maybe you haven't.
Yeah.
That's not important.
But we see things.
Yeah, but that's right.
Thing.
And the only reason that we see it is because not that long ago I was doing that.
Yeah.
And I was doing it for 100%. The same reason you were.
Yeah. 100%.
On that, what do you think is more valuable? A lesson that's learned pursuing the thing, lessons that are learned pursuing the thing that is your purpose, or lessons learned pursuing the things that aren't your purpose?
Mostly it is your purpose, and that purely comes down to, for myself, always keeping to your true values is what makes you the best you can be, because you're driving so like me, one of my true values is being a creative. So I love creating things, work my brain in that sense. So I've got to go through lessons multiple times, if it's good or bad lessons, if it's something to do to learn how to do something, or something with clients. I prefer to do it like that, to learn those lessons so I can build myself to be better. So, for those true values, but that's only because that's my journey, because I know that for myself to move forward after everything that I've been through, that I need to work on my true values. So I have learned so many lessons that haven't been on my purpose.
Yeah, I think, hang on. Let me rephrase. So let's say person one goes through a bunch of experiences, they learn a heap of lessons, and they come out really conscious and self-aware at the age of like 30.
Yeah.
And they did that doing panel beating, and then doing fucking shoveling horse shit, and then they went and fucking did some hospitality, and then right at the end they figured out that like, oh, I actually like making social media content, and they figured that out. Or person B, who just started doing social media content and knew that they loved it from like 17, and they did that the whole way to 30. Who do you think gets more valuable lessons? The person who did the shit that they didn't like doing, or the person who did the shit they did like doing over the same time?
Well, when you put it in that perspective, definitely person one.
The person who went through all the other shit.
Yeah, because you learn so many fucking life skills.
Yeah.
And that is a key thing to have, and it goes down to like, say, people that, from my experience that I've met and dealt with, a lot of people that go to uni and study and come from rich families, for instance. Yeah, they'll spend their time doing what they do, working their asses off to be better in, say, such as person two. But then the person one, as he said, has done all these other life experiences.
Yeah.
And knows how to deal with so many different situations in different industries.
Yeah.
They are still young. They can still get into an industry and still build up because if they have that work ethic and they've done that. So like in that way, what you said, definitely I feel like person one, because like for myself, I didn't, like when I was 20, even now, I didn't think I'd be so involved in the liquor industry.
Yeah.
When I even first started bartending, even when I was 22.
Yeah.
And I was just a rep for a
brewery.
And
to turn into what it's turned into now, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and to being where I've been, to do the competitions I've done, to build up a name for myself in the industry, which is great, and done what I've done, and the bars, and for instance, the progression of that.
Yeah.
It's like, I never expected any of this.
Yeah, fucking oath.
I didn't know my knowledge would be so large in this area as well, because I loved, back in the day, I wanted to be an architect and a draftsman.
Yeah, true.
I wanted to do interior design and all that.
Hey, champ, come on.
Louis.
Yeah, I think also as well, there's something about like I've been in, say, like mining and truck driving, which I guess is like transport and hospitality and like a whole bunch of shit before Black Ink was really a thing. And I think one of the really like big things is now I have a really broad range of communication skills.
100%.
Like,
you know how to deal with different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like kind of understanding, and like one thing I always go to is like there's particular people in society that when it comes to their demeanor and character, they're quite hard to communicate with purely based off the sort of work they do.
Yeah.
So dealing with people who work 12-hour shifts and understanding, especially in mining, especially in transport and like FIFO, things like, they communicate 100% differently to modern society, to like normal society.
And because they're not talking to people as much as, say, people in customer service.
That's right. So as silly as it sounds, and as like almost kind of simple as it sounds, I've found that if I use long, complicated words around truck drivers, they look at me like I'm a fuckhead.
Yeah.
Right? And whether that's because they feel intimidated on a subconscious level, or whether they're like, oh, what's he trying to prove or something, it's like at the end of the day, a truck, like I might say fucking, I don't know what the numbers are, I might say 10,000 words a day on an average day. A truck driver might say fucking 900.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like their like range of vocabulary and vernacular is so much less that then it's like I come along and I'm like saying the word vernacular, they're like, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Yeah.
You know, like, why do I need to know that?
Arsehole.
Yeah, like the only words I know with multiple syllables are truck parts.
Yeah.
You know, and like there's nothing against that. I was that not that long ago, but it's like understanding that, rightio, if you're dealing with a big burly sort of character who's got a high vis shirt on and it's 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, you go, mate, that's all you need.
That's and that's
you know
it.
What?
You can easily read
Don't even fucking look at him.
Yeah.
Look in his direction. There you go, mate. That's all.
Yeah, how you going? You want a beer? Sweet.
And then when you see, you know, old dolled up fucking 40-something-year-old homegirl who's got the fake nails and all the shit on, and understanding how to have that conversation with her and talking about nonsense for the next 8 minutes that you're never going to retain, you know?
What's bad, actually, is like some people, like, WA I feel is really good for understanding, like, in a lot of customer service on how to deal with different people.
Yeah.
Because we have such a diverse population.
Yeah.
Like, we have your tradies, your miners, you know, your rich and all different people.
Yeah.
But man, I love Melbourne a bit, but working there and they're not acceptable people. They don't really know how to like talk to just different kinds of people. Apparently, I had an accent and I swore too much. I was too
Bro, you got a
bogan.
fucking accent for a Bunbury resident. You're crazy. You're like the most Westy dude ever.
It's the effects of going to Newton Moore.
Yeah, dude. But that's the thing, man. Like, fucking Bunbury's got this, like, unforgiving, like, just natural yobbo-ness to it.
Yeah, and everyone thinks we're just all trash and hicks.
It's...
Like, I went, like, last night, because picked up the boys from the airport, and so we went to a bar in Mount Lawley for a little hospo night.
Yeah.
Because they had hospo specials. And
on a Sunday.
Yeah, so a common thing in city hospo is bars will put on Sunday nights or Monday nights like hospo specials.
Oh, because everyone who works in hospo can...
Yeah, because in cities, bars all work together, which is, of course, like, say, what we try to do in Bunbury, like what you do in Brooklyn with us, and then the Rose, we all try to work together.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing in city hospo. So they do hospo specials a lot of times, like booze wholesalers will help sponsor, and we'll just do some drink specials and that. And so we went, and because, of course, my mates, they own a few spirit brands, distilleries over in Melbourne, and they're launching them over here. So I was taking them out, and we went there, got some cool hospo deals. Yeah. But the dude that was serving me was their manager, and he was talking to the boys and then shaking our hands, met me, and he was like, "Oh, so what do you do for the businesses?" I was like, "Oh, I don't actually work for them. I'm just one of their good mates. I'm actually from Bunbury, but, you know, manage a bar down south." Yeah. And they're like, his instant reaction, I could tell, was like, this guy's up himself. His instant reaction was, "Oh, Bunbury." Yeah. And it was like the typical city hospo reaction to that I get all the time. Yeah. Like, "Oh, you work in Bunbury, you don't know anything."
Yeah, they think we ride a horse to work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But then he was a bit stunned when, because he had a very, very small selection of booze. Yeah. And we were stepping up, you know, waiting for him to make our cocktails, and the boys were with me, and they were asking a bit of information about some of the booze. And so this guy, of course, doesn't know who I am. And I used to be, when I lived in Melbourne, I was the Melbourne ambassador and state rep for Whippersnapper Distillery in East Perth. Right, yeah. And
did you have a name tag?
No.
Yeah, that's where they shorted you.
Nah, but I had business cards.
Yeah.
Had an email address.
Should have put it in a fucking display case.
This is who I used to be, bitch. No.
This is my old phone number.
But because the boys were asking about Whippersnapper, because they really want to go visit the distillery, because it's an amazing distillery. Right. And it's great products. And I was telling them about it. Like, I was like, "Oh yeah, so this is what it is. Everything is West Australian grown grains, you know, sourced from Narrogin and Kununurra. This is the percentages of the grains used and how they distill it, you know, how long it's aged for."
Would you say it is?
It's from East Perth.
No, what alcohol is it?
Oh, it's a whiskey.
Right, yeah.
It's technically a bourbon.
Right.
But because it's distilled and aged in Australia, not Southern America, it can't legally be called a bourbon.
Right.
There's so many like legalities behind names with booze.
Is that all just trademark shit, or is it like Steve's shit?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. Like today's,
like the idea if you have
you'd see it today as Steezed.
Yeah.
Because it was like centuries ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like talking about the booze to the boys, and he just overheard, and he was like, "You seem to know a lot about booze for someone from Bunbury." I was like, just because I'm from Bunbury, bro, doesn't mean we don't know anything.
Man, you should have told him. We got the internet like 2.5 years ago now.
I was like, "Mate, we had beam scooters way before you did." But it's like, it's funny because I'm just like, you shouldn't be so judgmental on someone just from where they're from, considering like...
Yeah, he could have just been having a fuck night as well, and like used to root a chick from Bunbury who like gave him chlamydia. You never know, dude. Like, and that's fucking just as likely.
But then I met the owner who was there, and he was like, "Man, so great to meet you." And it's funny because as I mentioned who we were, he was like, "Oh, I've heard of you guys before." It's like, "Didn't you? I used to own this business and this business." It's like, yeah, like the big man used to own them. And
yeah, interesting.
And I was just like, and unfortunately, it's a common thing. Unfortunately, in hospo.
What's the go with fucking people who make cocktails operating slowly?
Aesthetics.
Yeah, yeah.
They want the look.
Yeah, I wish it was just like...
Because I had that last night too.
Yeah. Just going slow. Like, what are you doing?
I'm just like I mind you, I do respect that when it depends on the bar.
Yeah.
So there are bars where it's actually unprofessional to be going, say, as fast as we do it at Bill's.
Yeah.
Because they're going for that nice, calm, relaxed feel. Like this bar was jazz.
Yeah.
There was a guy playing on the piano.
Right.
Very like small bespoke kind of place. But no, you are 110% correct in a lot of ways, because there are a lot of bars that they go stupidly slow because they want to look good. I
think like, well, two things. Does the speed at which you make the cocktail affect the taste?
Only when you're shaking it. And if there's ice already in there. So if they're making you a cocktail and they're making it in front of you, if they're putting ice in the shaker first, and then they start pouring in the booze and they're going really slow, that's giving more time for the ice to melt in there.
Right.
Which is unneeded. So essentially, like what we do, you need to put all the booze in,
and then the ice,
all the ingredients, and then the ice.
Right.
Because then as well, you will end up using less ice because of overfilling.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be shaking anyway, so it's going to be diluted from the broken ice to make it cold. But yeah, the longer you shake it, means more ice will be broken up and just diluted
more surface
for longer.
area, gets hotter.
And if there's like stuff like aquafaba or egg whites and that, you can get a lot more foamier. But then if you shake not too long, one, the temperature, so it's not as cold.
Yeah.
And two, say back to the foams ingredients.
You just have less volume.
You have very less volume and all that. And like, but a real cocktail bartender will be able to feel it.
Yeah.
So you don't need to... You need, of course, shake hard and fast. Like I tell my staff, always shake hard and fast.
Yeah.
And then you can feel it in your hands.
Yeah.
As soon as you can feel that getting to a temperature, you know it's done.
Yeah, right.
And that's why
a cold temperature, you mean, like getting cold?
Yeah.
Because that's that
shit in winter.
That's that fucking temperature going through the cup, isn't it?
Yeah, because we use stainless steel tins.
Yeah, right.
So the actual they get fucking freezing.
So obviously the whole idea, and like I kind of know the answer to this, but I'm just confirming it. The idea of a cocktail is, because obviously, like cutting the bullshit out, if we look at what it is, it's not worth what we're charging on paper, right? The idea is you're charging them for the experience of making the drink in front of them. It's in a pretty glass. It's got this, that, and the other.
Not so much. So say, for instance, a lot of times it actually works out cheaper to buy cocktails.
Right.
So than buying, say, if you came into Bill's and you bought a mojito.
Yeah.
So we're a traditional cocktail bar. So we do everything traditionally based in, and that means we create the cocktails how they were created back in the day.
Yeah.
Some may have very, little twists on them, but we always stick to the adequate booze amount, which is minimum double shot of booze.
Right.
So if you're going into Bill's or any bar and you go and buy two white rums and cokes, two Bacardi and cokes, it's going to be $20.
Right.
You come into Bill's and you get a mojito, you still get that double shot in there.
Yeah.
You get it in one drink with actual craft and flavour. It's not just a mixer with something. You're actually getting fresh ingredients, lime juice, mint, a good soda water that we use.
Yeah.
And you still get your double shot rum. It's only $18.
Yeah, and you're still having the experience of it made in front of you and blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Interesting, because I've always thought the cocktail was like the whole art of cocktail was the idea that it's in this fancy glass, it looks fun, you get to take a photo with it.
That was essentially more of a very big thing always through the stages. So like cocktails come and go, like the fad of it, always come and go like anything does in booze.
Yeah.
So when cocktails were really first out there, more in the 1910s to 1920s, a lot of cocktails were invented around that time period. A lot of the most famous cocktails today, like a Negroni and an Aviation. And they were really cool. Right, because I mean, back in the day, the glassware were absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah. It was a big deal.
Crystal, like proper, amazing stuff, and original ingredients.
Yeah.
So before anything was commercialized and that kind of stuff.
So it's actually like creating flavors from flavors, not from like artificial shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
So it was a massive thing there, and then it sort of gets back to then more of like your 70s, 80s to more in your 90s as well.
Yeah.
the time period and when like Sex on the Beach and the Cosmo and Fruit Tingles and all that were invented style. So the kind of real nightclubby style cocktails that came out and the beachy vibe styles.
So it's just like kind of like they've kind of come in and out of pop culture.
Absolutely.
Through the decades.
Absolutely.
And
then it came back to the past, really the past 7 to 10 years it's come back again.
Yeah.
Where, especially in Western Australia, where say they had the small bar liquor license that they brought into place because they really thought that it was going to be really bespoke, like top end wine bars and cocktail bars, because cocktails were starting to come back in the eastern states, but more of the classic style.
Yeah.
And so like say Los Feliz, that's on the small bar and all that kind of stuff. And
Brooklyn would be a small bar, wouldn't
Brooklyn
it?
is on the small bar, yep. Yeah. And there were so many stipulations and like laws and all that, but they didn't expect that the people that would end up coming into it that actually had the real passion for it have a very old school hospo attitude to them. And a lot of them came from other countries to educate everyone else in Australia because it wasn't big. And the alcohol game changed so much. So it was brought over to do a lot more. The classics came back. We changed the idea of licenses because we made them very to like dive bar-y styles, so like party bars, cool different cocktails. We make our own ingredients. Like that wasn't a big thing. So making ingredients weren't ever a big thing back in the day.
Right.
So the first lot of cocktails basically came out and it was the pure taste of alcohol.
Yeah.
So it was the taste elements of alcohol. Say when the Negroni was created, it is literally 3 equal parts and it's just pure booze.
Yeah.
Sweet vermouth, Campari and gin.
Yeah.
Then there's your dash of sugar elements, your citrus elements that get added to cocktails. And then in the second range, or when Sex and Beaches were invented and all that, that's when people started using juices. So you concentrated juices like cranberry juice, pineapple juice and all that. But then in this new range of cocktails is bringing out the more love for it and the creatives. So it's the new stamp on life. On cocktails around the world, and it's going on around the world, and it's amazing how large it is in Australia.
Yeah.
And we changed the style of like small bars because we didn't want that boring upmarket style.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it came from old school bartenders as well and other countries. So we all just wanted party bars. So a lot of the small bars you go to, they've all changed their ways. They still do like classics, but they're smashing them out so fast. They still look cool. There's house cocktails with creative, unique ingredients.
Man, there's just wild shit now.
It's so cool. Man, I've created so many crazy ingredients.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've created nearly 100 custom cocktail recipes. And there's some cool shit you can create a mix.
I think, like, the cool thing about what we're going to now is, like, this is probably the first time, like, because obviously we've seen a few different revolutions of the cocktail. And now we're going to a revolution that involves social media.
Yeah.
So the share of information, how things are done, and the inspiration and motivation to keep going is just, like, tenfold.
Absolutely.
So you're seeing I know because I got a little bit of exposure to it with the socials on Brooklyn, and like I actually try and get as much of that away from the interaction that we have, and I just try and get that local interaction. But while it was still occurring, like you just like these cunts don't stop.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the fucking ice cube with the logo of the bar burns onto the side of it. It's got fucking some bullshit smoke, and the glass has been fucking, you know, blessed by some pope over in fucking Africa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got my granddad to bless a few of the glasses.
Yeah, of course, Sicily. You know. And like you take some fine dirt from the soils of Donnybrook and like infuse that into some wank factor, you know. So, what was the running joke there for a while? Like, you know, it's a fucking a cocktail at Los Bills if you can't pronounce it.
Yeah, if you can't pronounce one of the ingredients. Like, I think I released one of the most funniest name, which was Emma's dump truck, named after Emma, one of my employees' butts. And we literally filmed a video of her like making the drink, you know, slut drop in, and that. And one of the key ingredients was a Croatian herbal aperitif, and it was called Pelinkovac.
Hell yeah, dude.
No one could. They're like, "What the fuck is Pelinkovac?"
And it's got all Q's and U's and shit all through it. Yeah, and the apostrophe is above the E for some reason. Which, you know, no Australian, no blue blood Australian knows what the fuck those apostrophes are above it. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not saying it like I fucking know.
Yeah, man. Man, but then again, that was like me today. I was in the beauty shop buying some cologne and treating myself.
Naturally.
And I was like, oh, you know what? I tried all these colognes, and then I saw the Johnny Depp Dior range. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally perfect for me. We've literally both recently escaped like traumatic domestic abuse relationships.
Right, yeah.
And people shitting on our beds.
Yeah, okay.
The shitting was done by me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say. Or Noah, at least.
Yeah, Noah's a cunt.
Noah's his boyfriend, for reference.
Yeah, he turned 1 today. Yeah, it's purebred Kelpie.
Oh, shit.
And like, I saw the Johnny Depp range and it smells amazing.
Yeah.
But it's all in French.
Oh, true.
There's so many different ones that they had, like all these toilet sprays, like moisturizers, but everything is like, I asked one of the girls who works there, and because sometimes I get cautious asking about these things, because I'm like, I always get weird looks asking about, like, they're like, why the fuck is this motherfucker asking about this shit?
Yeah, dude, cologne's always so fucking ambiguous as well. Like, you'd be looking at it and they're like, that's actually a female moisturizer. And you're like, it comes in a fucking bottle the shape of a man's torso.
Man, I was looking at the freaking the Versace range, and I was like, oh, I like this one, because I was hanging with Emma from Bill's. And she's like, Matt, that's the girl one. I was like, what do you mean? It says La Femme.
Yeah.
I was like, but it smells so beautiful.
Yeah, dude.
So like enough, like the young girl that was working there always comes into the bar, and very lovely, kind person. So I was like, okay, I need help. I don't speak French.
Yeah. Dude, how good is it having the local hookup when you're like the guy that everyone knows, and you go into some place and you're like, yes, this cunt knows me. They're going to look after me.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Man, like...
I still spent over $300.
Yeah, dude.
But, you know, I'm going to smell tasty. I got two colognes, though.
Right, I got fucking 4 expensive colognes. You saw the other day.
Yeah. Dude, Black XS.
Is
that's
the
great.
shit.
I used to wear that all the time.
Dude, I think you got that off me. I'm pretty sure.
No, my dad, my actual biological father bought me that for Christmas back originally when I was turned 18.
Heavy.
I think that was the last present I ever received from him.
Heavy. Fuck. I still would have been wearing it before you, but I wouldn't have known you back then.
No, we met when I turned 20, when I was 20.
Yeah, that was wild.
Because that was at Luke Barry's 21st.
Yeah, that's wild that I knew him when he was 21.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Like, I still can't believe it. Like, we knew of it. It was a typical Bunbury thing. We knew of each other.
Yeah.
But we'd never actually been in the same room. And then we met. And then we just started hanging out like every week.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those things where like we're 2 degrees of separation for so long that once we started hanging out, it's like we had so many mutual friends that we were like, you know how like having mutual friends on Facebook and having mutual friends in real life is such a big difference. Like,
100%.
Like we had friends who were like, yeah, I'm also very good friends with Luke, and you're like, yeah, I'm also very good friends with Luke. It's like, how have we not fucking hung out?
Yeah, and then because at that time, Luke and I were actually living together. I think we moved in together afterwards.
Yeah, you weren't far off living together.
Yeah, because we used to always do photo shoots. Remember
yeah, dude, I come around on fucking Wednesday night, and like that one time I brought Lockie with me, and we were the Milk Bros.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Man, we were all just drinking glasses of milk. Oh, man,
the biggest fucking tumblers of milk. Because I come around and I forget,
I didn't have anything to drink.
You didn't have anything to drink. And I'm like, oh, you can't fucking not offer me a drink. And I'm like, you got milk there, give us some milk. And then Lockie's like, oh, give me a glass as well. And you're like, oh, we'll all have milk. And we took that fucking photo for Instagram.
I fucking love milk.
Dude, that was the same.
There was the one with my fish tank too.
Yeah, where I'm wearing the Harley jumper.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, that shit's
We did some cool ones. Because then we tested it out. I remember you and Luke were testing out the snapshots, and we had with your phone light or something, we're going around and we're doing like patterns and that in separate shots, but we're all trying to stay still.
Yeah, that was the slow shutter speed with you leave it open for like a minute and turn your aperture right up, I think, and your ISO right up. And then you can just, walk around with a light and draw shit.
Because you used to do that. I used to do really good with your photography and what you would do in your style when you did photos of Barbados.
Yeah, I did it on the weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, so did you see that photo I posted today in Brooklyn? Yeah. That's the same style with the light.
I thought so. I was like, that's what got it into my head as well.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, as soon as I started shooting, it just started working. And I'm like, oh, this slaps.
Well, because no one does photos anymore.
Yeah.
Fitzies don't do photos.
Dude, you know what's fucking crazy? I realized, I'm like, oh, I can just go and say to Fitzy, like, hey, I'm a photographer for X amount an hour. Like,
you should wait for the new place.
Oh, dude, the point being, like,
And you can do it because he doesn't have anyone at the
Just
moment.
get that rep, wear a black ink shirt all night, get paid to walk around and take photos.
Because they're not doing anything on their socials.
It's crazy, dude.
I mean, they don't need to because if they just want that Bunbury local market. But
yeah.
At the same time, for tourism, it will be good that they do it.
Dude, fuck tourism. For culture,
Well, I mean, when
good.
Pavilion opens up, because they'll need it. Yeah.
I imagine he's going to hit the ground running with a bit of a... I would like to hope he's got a bit of a plan in place.
Oh, he's got some good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what Bunbury needs. Like, I've been looking through it, and I think for him, it's just he knows what Bunbury needs, and it's less pressure on him as well.
Dude, you want to talk about finger on the pulse?
What?
That man knows what is going on.
Oh, hell yeah.
He knows what is going on.
Hell
and
yeah.
even if it's just a nightlife industry, yeah, that's the thing. Like, everybody's busting to tell him.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. And you know what I find fucking bizarre is, like, I've been getting fucked up in this town. Like, I started getting properly fucked up. Like, I didn't really do drugs or alcohol at all until I was like 23, 24.
Yeah, we were both older when we started.
And even then, like, the fucking uptake was extreme.
Yeah.
But, like, I still took it easy for, like, the first 6 months. So you say 23, I'm 29 now. So it's like there's 6 years, and they probably take out 2 years of truck driving. So there's 4 years of partying, and I've only just started having real conversations or communication with him.
Yeah.
And I was saying this to Riz the other day. I'm pretty happy, like, you could probably stand by this. Like, I'm never fucked up. Like, I'm never, like, past being able to control myself. I'm never wobbly. I'm always good.
And that's what I always am, like, except my birthday.
Well, your birthday, I've got, like, probably 15 minutes of video that you have no recollection of happening.
Oh, God, no. There's 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. that whole entire evening I have no recollection of.
That's just static.
I still find out shit, like, at work that people, like, one guy came up to me and he's like, the other night, he's like, Matt, I just want to apologise for the other weekend. I was like, what happened? He's like, bro, you literally look at me and, like, dead in the eyes and said you were going to fucking blind me if I did this and this. I was like, man, what?
Yeah.
I was like, man, I could never do that to you.
Doesn't sound on character for me.
I was like, man, you should have just looked at me and just slapped me across the face and said, down, boy, down.
Dude, when we went for a walk to have a cigarette, when I came back, I remember, like, I went to go tell someone because everyone was kind of like, oh, you've got Matty, you know, because you were that fucked up that I remember you kept bugging me like, oh, we'll go for a walk, we'll smoke this dart. I'm like, all right, we'll go for this walk. And then we got halfway out the door and then you like wouldn't leave. I'm like, cunt, I'm going out to the smokers area if you're not coming right now. You're like, okay, we'll go now. So we've gone out and we've walked up around the corner and you're talking all this shit. I'm like, do you have darts or what's going on? And you're like, yeah, no, man, I'll look after you. I'm like, yeah, sweet, we keep walking. I'm like, can you fucking get the darts out? And you're like, oh yeah, man. I'm like, to every other cunt that's watching this, if they're watching it, it looks like me trying to fucking convince you to give me your darts while you're super pissed.
You're just this random like hobo dude, just like, hey man, do you have a dart?
Yeah, dude. So we end up going back and like, I remember you had a couple of, no, bro, you were walking and vomiting at the same time.
Was I?
You walk and you'd be like, and just be like a splat and you walk over like that.
Right, that's probably why I lasted, because I got it all the shit out.
Dude, I think our little walk was the fucking recovery.
That's probably what saved me from dying fully.
Then when you went back in, it was everyone's goal to get you to drink water and you're like, nah, I'll have one more drink and then I'm leaving. And it was like, what are you talking about? I have one more drink. And then you end up drinking water. Oh, fuck, man.
Fucking, I fucked with the guards at Fitz here. So we're all in the courtyard and I had my fanny pack around me. And I was like going through it, sneaking through there.
Yeah.
And I could see my peripherals because I just using the bar, I know stuff. And so I must have just been watching because it's like I was with my housemate and one of my mates. And they're like, man, you were just like sniffing through, like going through it. And then as you started coming close, you pulled out a double-decker chocolate bar.
Yeah, sick.
I was like, yeah, bro. And then you gave it to me. No, then I gave it to my mate.
Yeah.
Because I'm such an asshole to some security sometimes. Because I'm like, you don't need to be tough.
Yeah.
And so pretend to pull shit out and chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Man, I'm out in town. I'm always prepared. I got like snacks.
Yeah.
Like, you think I got a fanny pack to sell? Fuck no. I've got fruit chews, sometimes some freaking minties.
Yeah, dude.
Always got chewies.
I've got some Jersey caramels in there.
I've caramello koalas sometimes.
Yeah.
Man, I always do a little shot beforehand because
The fuck was that?
it was Ezra's new mixtape. It just dropped.
Bro, that sounded crazy. Did you hear that? Sounded like a fucking tree landed on that car.
Yeah, the wind's fucked. There's meant to be high winds like coming tonight.
Fuck that noise, dude. It just means I can't do wheelies. I'm so disappointed. I went out on
Dude, I saw your drift, bro.
How good was that?
That was sick.
Dude, I'm actually fucking good at that.
I was so proud of you. I was like, this is awesome.
I learned how to do that yesterday.
What?
Yeah, dude.
I wasn't expecting to see, like, I thought you were just going to do some little dollies around Seb's bike.
No, change
and
direction.
Then you go and I was like, oh, hold up.
Yeah, dude.
He gonna need some milk.
Dude, I was
this
fucking...
boy going.
I was so excited, hey.
Oh, man, I would, yeah.
What
I should
is
probably
this?
get my ass and get my motorbike sorted, so...
Oh, I just can't fucking...
Because we're going to have a push for me to get my motorbikes on the road.
Right.
Biko's getting a bike. He wants to get one.
The problem is you got to understand, like, I'm the guy who's always had motorbikes, right? So everyone tells me when they're going to get their license and when they're going to get a motor... Fucking talk to me when you're at my house with your helmet on, ready to ride.
Oh, I've got my license somehow.
Yeah. I'm at that point now. Like,
no, because then I'll need your help because I want to do. Because all I got to do is install the new gear sensor on, get a new battery, and put all the parts on. But before I put the parts on, that idea that we came up with about printing out a whole bunch of homies stickers.
Oh yeah.
So I want to do a whole bunch of black ink stuff on it.
Yeah.
And then I actually caught up with Phil yesterday.
Oh, really?
From
Up in
Strictly.
Perth, yeah.
Yeah. We went out for a couple of drinks before I went to the airport. And I told him about it, and he was like, heck yes.
Yeah, it'd be cool as fuck.
I was like, he was like, that would be sick.
Yeah, well, I can print his stickers. I can print everyone's
I was
stickers.
talking about that too.
Just get me whatever stickers you want, and I'll fucking get them on there.
Yeah, because I reckon we could make it cool. Because then we're going to get Biko to get one. Because he's moving back from Perth.
Oh, really?
Yep.
They all come back.
Our boys come back. Yeah, because he's going to save some money so he can buy a property.
Yeah.
So
that was always in the plan, I think.
Yeah, because I think him and his sister built one up in Perth.
Yeah.
And then his sister's in that, and he wants to move back down so he can do one on his own.
Yeah.
So, and then because he just misses me too much. So.
Yeah, naturally. Or both of us, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, you and him, you're like an Oreo. Me and him, we're like a Jaffa. It's great. We're the best.
Fucked up. That's fucked up.
That's his best way of describing us.
Oh, I feel like...
That's Biko's best way.
Right, I'm going to fucking leave that alone. Where are we at, by the way? Yeah, I thought we fucking killed it. We're done 48 minutes. We better fucking touch real quick on a little bit of the, history of, Black Ink. So what's your, first interaction with Black Ink that you remember?
Fuck. I think if it's what? Because what came first? It was... Did you brand the van first or release a shirt?
Oh, brand, no. So the van was in full existence before the shirts.
Okay, because I remember the first shirt and then the brand, because of course we used to hang out back when it was a Cappuccino Express.
Yeah.
And I still have Polaroids of the van in your old place, like in the garage.
Oh, yeah.
Back when Tom Mack is in one of them, and
yeah,
real back. And I think that was the night before we went and saw All Day.
Wow,
that was the night before we went to watch All Day at the Prince.
Fuck, that was wild.
Yeah, and then I think the first main interaction was you actually had just got it done. You literally just got it done, and then a couple of weeks after I came and did a run with you.
Oh yeah,
on the Black Ink, and then because we used to do the Nanup Farm Field Day together.
Yeah, we did that a couple times.
Yeah,
a few times.
And we always finished early because we sold out.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was the main first memory of the full Black Ink van.
Yeah.
Was mainly the Nanup Farm Field Day.
Yeah, I think we even got photos from those days as well.
Yeah, they're still on the Insta.
Stewie Smith was there.
Yeah, because I shared one the other day.
Yeah.
Of you, me, and Stewie.
Oh, with a coffee sign.
Yeah. And then the first one we did, that was back. I had long hair down. My hair was down to there, and I was wearing that giant black Offense trench coat.
Yeah.
And that was you and I just smashed it that day. We went crazy.
Yeah.
I think we finished halfway through the day that day.
Yeah, but dude, this is the thing. Like when I talk about those slow cocktail waitresses and that, it's like kind of like because when I made coffee, I made it quick. I made it quick as fuck.
100%. That's what I mean with a drink. I always want to make it quick.
Yeah.
But then when the first start of the shirts was the OP long sleeve.
Yeah, well, because I only sold I only sold the short sleeve to the females and the long sleeve to the males.
Yeah, I hated you for that.
Yeah.
You did the tortee with black ink down the front, and because I've always dug my tortees.
Dude, that's the fucking
original. There's one up there, you arsehole.
That is the number one, dude.
Because I remember seeing it, I think the first time I saw it was at GTM. 1 year.
Heavy.
Was that one. And because I have an OG, fucking long sleeve still in the cupboard.
Heavy. Did I wear it to GTM?
No, Talisha Crotty.
Oh man.
Because we all had Barbados. We all had Barbados, and we all supported you and that.
Of course, she wore it to fucking GTM. I remember the year. Yeah.
You were in a bright coloured highlighter tracksuit.
When am I not?
No, but that was back in the days where we used to always go out to like Cactus up in Amber every Wednesday. You were wearing his awesome ass bright old school sports tracksuit, and then because then I was wearing a more darker style tracksuit.
Yeah, I think that I was wearing the orange shits.
Yeah, it was like I think pink as well.
Yeah, I was wearing the blue pants and I had on that multicolored pink, green, and orange.
And the sunnies to match.
Yeah. That was early cornrow days.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%. That's
back before I was called Post Malone fucking everywhere I go.
Yeah, that's right. Before I grew my hair out when I was younger, I was called Macklemore everywhere I went. Yeah. Because at the time, like my best mate, he was based, everyone called him Zayn Malek. So every time we'd go to Three Monkeys, the guards would always be like, "Hey, Macklemore and Zayn's in the building."
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, thanks. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, thanks.
But yeah, that whole time period's pretty cool because it's like, at the time I was really concerned, and this we go back to what we were talking about earlier, where I was really concerned about being this businessman and like someone, bought a house and, had these relationships and was going through all these different things. And I really thought I was like really figuring myself out. But what I was doing was just trying a bunch of different shit and figuring out what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
That's what I was actually doing. Because like now, and like you don't even realize that until years later, until you're like, oh, like sometimes you're doing something you hate and then that manifests itself into bad relationships.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you don't realize it until you remove yourself from the thing you hate doing. Your relationships never stand a chance because you're waking up every day with this like internal angst that stops you from having, that almost that clarity and that transparency with these people. So it's like, I think it's cool back then that I really, and I think you can back me up here, like I went fucking wild.
Oh man, those days, like, it was crazy.
We just did everything all the time.
You'd have Cactus Wednesdays on the Wednesday, and then there'll be basements, there'll be concept, there'll be throwdown.
Yeah, dude.
It was literally everyone, because it was such a massive dubstep and drum and bass scene.
Yeah.
The whole Bunbury scene all was around Black Ink. We all wore Black Ink and supported, and we all just went together. It was just
I can't believe what it was, hey?
Like, it was such a good time, and the scene was the best. Like, and I was actually talking to someone about this the other day on how good the scene was, because it was like, you look back on some of the throwdown videos, you'd go to an event and it would literally, although it's not like back in the day when people was doing salsa and all that, you'd look on the dance floor, there'll be chicks, hot as heck, just dancing and rinsing.
Yeah.
Dudes, ugly as heck, rinsing and dancing, but everyone is getting along.
It was wild.
Everyone respects your space, and everyone could feel comfortable like rinsing or two-stepping.
You know what?
And it was just so cool.
All it is from a greater point of view, though, is we had a really good subculture. Yeah. Because you see this in Screamo, you see this in any sort of genre, really, that does get together and all enjoy the same music. But I think the fact was that it was happening, and there was a great population of people behind it. And because Bunbury is so close to Perth, we're only 200, we're 2 hours away from amplifying the whole thing tenfold.
Literally.
And I think one thing, like, so people who don't know about Basement, that was like once a month on a Friday night. It was held at Gilkinson's Dance Studio. I think it housed, probably a few hundred people, 400 people maybe?
About 450, yeah.
And the tickets would sell out in under 5 minutes every time.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
You would sit around with friends with laptops and iPads and phones, and you'd all be refreshing the minute before. And then everybody would, I think you could only secure 4 tickets at once.
Yeah.
And everybody would secure 4 tickets, and you would buy them because you knew you could sell them.
Yep.
It was crazy. So that to me, like, that was a really influential factor of what Black Ink was.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
that, like, outside of, this is the thing, like, Black Ink organically grew a community through the coffee van. Because I was visiting all these workplaces. I probably had about 50 workplaces that I visited every week. You know, I had 20 stops a day-ish.
People still see me and remember me from when we
From
used
the
to
coffee
go
van.
from the coffee van,
Right?
when we went to places.
So I had that whole community, but then I had this thing that I was doing on the weekend that it was like, all I had to do was rock up and have Black Ink on.
Yeah.
And keep doing new shit and keep having, and like that seemed fairly natural for me at the time.
And have a great supporting following as well. That enhances it.
They just like, I wasn't even marketing at the time and people were fucking with it.
Yeah.
I probably had more natural interaction back then than what I do now. And I think it's because I was doing it before it was a popular thing to do.
Yeah, because it was before people, like, of course, before pre-COVID, but it was around the time where people weren't doing their own like side hustles and that.
Yeah.
They weren't a big thing.
Yeah.
So it was a very big start, and you were able to capitalize on and get the name out there, which was great.
I think it was just like, I definitely named Black Ink with the intention, like the coffee van with the intention of having like a very, you know, I guess just like open-ended meaning for what Black Ink could be, so that if it turned into something, it could. And as it turned out, I went down the clothing route. And, you know, if I'm honest, I probably had that inclination from the start.
Yeah.
But like, it was cool when it turned into that, and there was no force. Like, I didn't have to sell shirts to make money. I had the coffee van paid for everything.
Yeah.
So then the shirts were like, oh, I'll do it. It's cool. It's a byproduct of what I'm doing. People like it. I can make 20 and sell 20.
It gets the name out there.
No skin off my nose.
Business.
I'm pretty sure I sold them for ridiculous prices as well, you know? And I think it was that factor. There was no urgency on it and there was no push on it that people fucked with it, you know? Because I wasn't me trying to sell shirts. It was just me being at every event. Everyone kind of knew me one way or another.
Yeah, we'd chat you a line if we wanted to buy a shirt. And
That's
if
right.
you had some, you're like, yeah, sweet, I've got this. And
yeah, and it's funny because I feel like of all the customers I have now, like say I've got a customer base of, you know, like 350 people, right? I think maybe probably 50 to 100 of them are like, I mean, you're 5 of them, you know, but 50 to 100 of them are those people that I either like made coffee for in the van back in the day, or they were at those events we're talking about, or they were part of the community one way or another. Yeah. You know, and it's like, it's super interesting because these people literally have like lifetime spends of I mean, you have to have spent near $5,000 on Black Ink.
Oh man, I've nearly bought every single bit of clothing.
Yeah.
Nearly every, like I remember you released a whole shit ton years ago and you had the sale inside your garage.
Yeah.
I bought every single piece.
Yeah.
The beanie, the hat, the windbreaker, every long sleeve and short sleeve.
The white shirt.
The white, everything in white and in black. And, but because you literally designed what I wanted to wear.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit about high-end brands.
Yeah.
You could wear whatever you want and look as cool as hell and spend no money. It's about how you design your outfit and what you actually buy.
I got this jacket at Salvo's, dude. I fuck with it, you know?
It's fucking tasty.
It's a Timberland jacket, would you believe? Yeah, I got it for $7. But dude, my wardrobe is Salvo's and Black Ink.
Man, we used to always just have Salvo. Remember we used to go up like to Perth and there was like 3 chains of just like op shops all in one.
Yeah.
We used to cop so many cool stuff. Like remember we found that Snoop Dogg shirt.
Yeah, dude.
That was freaking
that a yellow one?
Yeah, the bright yellow one.
Yeah, I ended up wearing that to a fucking... I've worn that to a bunch of shit now, man.
Yeah, I was like, this is Jake.
Dude, you know what we should do? We should do a fucking... like, because I've got probably 4 boxes of shit all wrapped up. We should do a little... like going through those boxes, maybe make a bit of content with it. That'd be fun.
Heck yeah, we do something cool.
Talk about where we found them and shit. Because I wouldn't mind. This is a thing, like it's winter and I've got like 3 jackets to wear. I'm like, I own fucking 100 jackets.
Yeah.
Why? Where are they?
And that's like, I keep wearing the same shit.
Yeah.
I haven't touched some of my other jackets, but I'm going through some of my jackets and I kind of don't want these anymore. Might change my style.
Yeah,
they're black,
I'm
but not the black
now.
I want.
We're fucking adults and we can house shit, and like going from living in a caravan to living in a house has been.
Yeah, it's not good because I'm about to do an order on vacuum sealed bags and an under thing.
I'll admit you got a lot of shit, but I think you got. I think when it comes to clothing, with your like the way you purchase stuff, I would definitely hold on to as much clothes.
Oh yeah, that's the aim.
You know.
But man, I'm surprised with how much I've got in my possession within the past 2.5 years from moving back to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Because I moved back with only filling up crap in my Ford Focus.
Yeah.
And then, I've got too much shit.
Yeah.
But I don't regret any of it because the clothes are fucking sick. They're sick like brands.
Yeah, clothes are fine. I think it's just when you find yourself collecting, like, I know you're not going to agree with me here, but like fucking record players, you know what I mean? Like, fuck me, dude. Just get a Yui Boom, you know what I mean? You don't need this big thing that's a cunt to move that you use 3 times a year.
But in saying that, I haven't used it in a while because my actual record player busted.
My point. Yeah.
But I do want to get a really good one. But for someone like me, I personally use it weekly.
Yeah.
So I like putting on a full vinyl while I'm cooking dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
and that's super gay, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But and look, man.
But hey, sometimes I got to put on some nice classic music or some Tekashi 6ix9ine while I make my homemade pasta.
You know what? The equivalent of that for me, I guess, is like, you've got half a bike assembled over here. Oh, is that still recording? Yeah, it is. You got half a bike assembled over here. You've got a bike here. I've got 3 bikes in the shed, and it's like, yeah, but I fucking ride bikes. Yeah. I mean the shit that people collect, like chicks like buying shit from Kmart.
Yeah. I understand the ornaments.
Yeah, dude.
Buy ornaments.
You're spending $15 at a time for that shit. Like 15's at the bottom end as well.
Like, I get it if you're going to buy an ornament and you're going to put some water in and then rejuvenate a plant. Yeah. Because plants are fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't get some of the ornaments that I see. I'm like, why is that so fucking expensive?
Yeah, dude.
And then I'm like, why don't I make my own ornaments and
also,
sell them?
Like, I feel like an ornament is seasonal. I'm not keeping that ornament for fucking 4 years. It's
absolutely.
Like, let's throw it out.
And someone like me, of course, I have ADHD, so my brain always likes doing different things. And then, of course, when I was younger, I studied interior design and drafting and that. Yeah. I always like to change shit. I mean, you look at the bar, we always change shit around.
I must admit, I've identified that myself, and you would have seen it with this room here. Yeah. Like, I change shit so regularly.
Yeah. But I don't see it as a bad thing. For us, you look at our progression in anything over the years, we like change. Yeah. Which it makes us less afraid to move forward and to do
and be
different
uncomfortable
stuff
as well.
Yeah, deal with stressful situations, but not be afraid to enhance ourselves or our business. Yeah. And because at the end of the day, you've got to survive.
Yeah, not being scared of fuck. I'm just going to fix this low battery shit. Right. Oh, dude. Oh, we got 20%. We're fine.
Gee. We're G.
But yeah, that, what were we just talking about? Oh, constant change. But yeah, that fucking... No, that's all right. That constant changes. I feel like it ties into like having a routine amount of change in your schedule, right? Because I know that I definitely need the routine. Yeah. Like I like waking up at the same time, going to bed at the same time. I love shit like that, and like knowing that I've drunk 2 liters of water every day. Knowing that I do this before that. I love that every day. But I also I need to change shit up once a month. And I need to do something that makes me really fucking uncomfortable at least once a week. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And like sometimes that's different forms, man. I got it the other day from reading a book for an hour.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I was like, I just really didn't want to do it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna fucking do this. It's not about how many pages I read. It's about being here in this one spot for an hour and just doing this thing because I don't want to do it.
And that's the thing. And sometimes you got to do it. Like for me, I find I need to do stuff like that because I need that time to relax. Yeah. And because my brain is always dealing with so much different stuff at the same time. It's like, man, I glued my face to my phone the other day for an hour doing word sleuths.
Yeah.
Word sleuths are fucking sick, by the way.
Yeah, it's the fucking light in the screen that worries me. Because sometimes I'm like, because I do a lot of scrolling for work. And I'm like, I just want to scroll for social. And it's like, actually, I just want to fucking get away from the fucking screen.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. There is some freaking gnarly books out there. And a great one, actually, I've read before, most of it, is actually the book about Janine Ellis-Helen's Boost Juice.
Dude, that's the biggest backpedal you just did then. This book that I've read before, well, I've almost finished it. Well, actually, I've read the blurb on the back. Look, I didn't buy it, but I was interested in it once,
It's the perfect description of someone with my brain.
Yeah. Well, I heard once about an audio book being about it.
It's like an undecisive fuckboy So I like you, but I don't like you. I can't want this or don't want this.
That's what I like you, but I also like KFC, so it's hard to judge these things.
That's like me with books.
Yeah.
Man, but like it's the inspiration books. Like there's some. That's a good one if you just want to like veg out for an hour, but still get some motivation.
Yeah.
Is the book of Janine Ellis from Boost Juice. That woman has lived through some shit.
Interesting.
Man, she worked on the cruise boat for Mick Jagger.
Oh, that's cool.
In Greece.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, but like in her book, she did that right after basically nearly getting kidnapped for human trafficking.
No, I've been kidnapped before. It's not that crazy.
Yeah. Oh, you have?
Yeah, dude.
It wasn't by me, was it?
No. I got swapped for a cup of corn.
Shit.
That was my value, was a cup of corn at one point. Now I'm the black ink guy.
That's probably why your dad's always so nice to me, because he knows deep down that he's not your real father.
Man, I was waiting to see where you steered.
He misses his corn though.
I was like, yeah, that's why your dad's so sad. Yeah, why is my dad so sad? No, go on. Fucking tell me.
I was like, I know, bro, my dad don't love me.
But no, for legal reasons, I wasn't once traded for a cup of corn on a human slave market. That was a joke.
Oh.
Yeah. It was because I had so straight in the face that you're like, oh, this guy actually was fucking kidnapped at one point.
I guess it makes sense it's not true, because, man, your dad does look like your dad.
Yeah.
So,
the apple fell directly from the tree.
And right directly.
Straight into the fucking tattoo studio.
Yeah. Literally, I remember the first time I met your dad, I was like, Jake was right. He's got some tats.
Yeah, dude.
So I wish my dad had some tattoos.
It's just a scary looking dude.
He is.
You know, like...
That's a fucking monster.
Yeah,
he's so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, my interactions with him.
He's just one of those... He's one of those blokes where I'm like, I feel if you cut him open, it would just be like rocks and fucking scary memories and just heaps of darkness. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
No, he's just one of those blokes. Like
he's just been through shit.
It's crazy, you know, because like obviously you grow up growing up your life. What happens to you is your normal.
Yeah.
You know, and then you become like old enough to realize, like, you know, you look at things, you're like, oh, not everyone had that mum and that dad and that experience of childhood. And I look at my dad compared to some people's dads, I'm like, oh my God, cunt, you're so unique.
Yeah.
You know, like the stories that you have. And like the thing is, my dad's like the straightest shooter. Like when he's telling you a story, you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, who has these stories? You know what I mean?
Who does these fucking shit?
It's just like his normal day-to-day life. Like how he manages situations is just like, and I realize now as an adult that you are very good at handling all situations when you've dealt with a bunch of high tension situations.
Oh, heck.
Nothing worries him. You know what I mean? So it's just...
And like, I can relate to that, because I mean, we've worked
the
in bars for so many years. And because I haven't always had security at my bars that I've managed, and it's like I've dealt with so many situations.
Yeah.
Like so many. So for him, he's like, he knows how to handle. He's just like, it's more like his patience is exhausted from dealing with so much shit that he just goes straight to his intentions and but knows his intentions.
He goes straight to his values, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that threshold of like, you know, sometimes, you know, if you might, someone who doesn't have a very high threshold, you know, they see someone, they're on their push bike, they fall over, they cut their knee, and they're like, oh my God, there's blood everywhere. And they freak out, they might faint. Yeah. But then like the other end of the spectrum is like, you know, you see someone get shot in front of you and you're like, oh, the guy's dead, you know, like what are we going to, I'm just going to have a cigarette, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's like, I think when that threshold, and like, I don't fucking know what sort of shit my dad has been through, I don't care to ask. But at the same time, like I know that his threshold is so crazy that when I've called him and been in crazy situations and he's the first person like, hey dad, I've just fucking written off this car. Yeah. Hey dad, I just did this. Yeah. And he's like, okay, right. Do this.
We'll do this.
Do this. Yeah. I'll be there. You know, like I was talking to Aiden the other day on the podcast, and he was saying when he rolled his car through the main street of town, first thing he did was called his old man. And he goes, right, get a tow truck. I'll be there in 20. And I was thinking as he was saying that, I'm like, oh, my dad and your dad are so fucking similar in that nothing shakes them. They're straight on to solving the problem.
And you know what? And that's, fortunately, I don't have that my biological father. But that's, when I had that stuff, I call Ian, so who owns Bills.
Yeah.
Because he's like my dad.
Yeah.
So like whenever anything has ever happened, bad, good, always bad as well, I'm always calling him. I was like, because we know when it's like business, when he's my boss, and then when it's, okay, I'm dad. Yeah. So I'm like, Ian, I've fucking done this. And he's just like, cool. He's like, all right, let's, you're chill. Let's maybe look at this, doing this. Yeah. Like, and that's from him been through so much shit, seen so much shit from hospitality. I mean,
Yeah.
dude's been in around the world for like 30 odd years and it's dealt with shit.
Yeah, true. And just doing
Dealt with
things,
the Wagwan crew.
I think it's very, there's like something to, there's just this line in the sand, man. Like I feel like there's a lot of people just doing enough to survive. And then there's people who are like vocationally seeking to solve problems and to get better and to progress.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that like you and I have in common is like, just with what you do in the bar, just with what you see me doing at Brooklyn, just with what is going on with Black Ink, like obviously we're working towards keeping some sort of momentum that's happening, you know, and like Ian has that as well. A lot of the people that I deal with, a lot of my mentors, they have this similar trait. And it's just interesting in that, like, it doesn't seem to matter what the industry is or what the path is or what the fucking thing is. They all seem to come out with this very similar mentality of like, what are all the elements involved? Is there a problem? How do we solve it? You know what I mean? Like everything's very kind of dry and logical.
And you know, and what I've noticed is that the best thing is seeing that passed down, like that kind of like teachings and educations, like say passed down to yourself and I passed down to myself, and then dealing with how we've been dealt with those situations with our father and father figures, and then dealing with what we personally have to go deal with. I'm finding a lot more of the younger crew are asking for help and advice.
Yeah.
And of course have their parents, but like there's stuff that they can't go to their parents about, and it's like
everyone's parents are fucking divorced, bro.
Yeah, oh yeah,
everyone.
But I actually saw this thing the other day, actually based on that. It's everyone's going on about how it should be like the old days, parents like still together after and been married for 60, 80 years,
beating the shit out of their kids when they do something wrong.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, but you look back at those days, and women unfortunately could not vote. They couldn't get a job. There was no equality for females and males, and even there was also bad stuff against males and bad. There was so much going on back then that they literally needed to stay. A lot of them needed to stay married just to be alive.
Yeah,
because women couldn't even go get a house by themselves.
I understand what you're saying, and it's not going to be a debate. You're right, but I think
so many different ways around.
I think the conversation that should be had is how do we teach. And I'm only tending to the garden that I can reach. Okay, how do we teach young men to be better gentlemen? That is the real question.
I saw the best actual, funny enough, TikTok. I saw a great TikTok that actually spoke about like 10 points that are great to progress your next relationship.
Yeah.
And mind you, I see it in everyday life. You need to be open and honest about where you're going in life, what you want to do.
Yeah, what your intentions are.
What your intentions are. If there's an argument, you need to talk to each other rather than yelling. It's all about reactions as well, of course.
Yeah.
You need a safe word if something is getting a bit too serious, so you can both take it serious, that safe word seriously, and stop your argument, so then you can come back to it when you've cooled down and speak properly.
Interesting, yeah.
Before you really get even serious, you need to ask about flaws within each other.
Yeah.
Because your flaws, if you don't talk about your flaws with each other, of course, can affect you and affects your relationship. And because if something hurts you and you don't say anything, it bottles up. And that's a massive thing with men.
Yeah.
And for me, talking to young boys as well, especially I've spoken to some relationships in the past as well.
Yeah.
It's like, one thing is, don't close yourself off. You need to, as much as it hurts for a male to get walked all over, you need to stand up for your feelings and put them out there while still respecting your partners fully.
This is the thing, like you're talking about, I think the back end of a skill. I think like
it's hard, but a lot of, for myself, the only way that I've come to that conclusion is being walked all over.
Yeah. Yeah, but okay.
And that's the hardest thing, because you want to try and educate the boys on different things, but when they haven't gone through scenarios, it's a lot harder for them to take in. So I guess with the different scenarios, it's depending on what they're going through and what you do and what you need to educate them on. But it's, for me, like when I talk to them, I let them talk and tell me what's going on with them. But then, of course, how I always communicate with people, and it's a common thing with ADHD, is we talk about our experiences to let you know how much that we actually do understand.
Yeah.
And that's what I do, of course, with young boys, so they can hear it's like but mainly it's like you're not alone. Like you can do this kind of stuff, you can do this, but you also shouldn't do this because there shouldn't be like the alpha male aspect or that kind of stuff. But you also shouldn't do this for this person. Like, yeah,
I think
it's a big thing. I think.
What I'm like, I guess this comes down to like a lot of thoughts that I have. Are like, imagine if I had a son. There's a certain amount of control that you have over the information that they get to a certain point, and then there's a certain amount of control you have to let go of and hope that the values that you've instilled play out in a way that you would think is the best for them, hopefully is the best for them. And I think the thing that I'm more concerned about is that I can teach that young man to be the best possible gentleman that I possibly can. And I feel like in a certain way my mum and dad did that for me. And then I went through a little bit of trial and tribulation, experimentation through my adolescence and then early 20s. And now I've come out the other side appreciating what my role as a male is. And hopefully I can be that person for Larissa, and I can be that person for my mother. I can be that person for my daughter maybe one day. But talking about instilling that into a son, I think one question that I'm always faced with when I think about like real life, what can I do for society that creates a structure for my son to be a part of? Because I think what you're talking about is like, you're talking about the end of the day. I'm talking about the beginning.
So I feel, from what I've seen with some, because of course I have various friends of different age groups and they have kids, a lot of dads, and I hear a lot of stories on how they react with their kids and what goes on. And I feel like one of the best things you can do for a son is give him a space of common ground.
Yeah.
So it's very hard. So a mother is always that nurturing, loving part of a son's life.
Yeah.
Usually, like, they're always that loving, got to go to mum, like mum's boy, that kind of stuff. And a lot of dads, they have to be that hard-working one, teaches the lessons, that kind of stuff. But I think that shouldn't be the case. Like, with men, you don't need to be so soft, of course, to your sons, but you need to resemble with your kids, be open to them, tell them about your experiences, especially if they're a teenager, they're going through drugs. Teenager is a hard fucking time for a teenage boy. Yeah. There's different, of course, hard times that they go through compared to girls. It's the same vice versa. But like, there's drugs, there's vapes going around,
there's everything.
Eshays and, there's all that crap. So I think it's like being open and accepting to your son and trying not to react in a harmful, aggressive way. I mean, you still got to put discipline on them 110%, but you got to talk to them like they're a human being. Yeah. Because like, myself growing up, my biological father, I grew up afraid of him. Yeah. He wanted to put fear into our eyes. Yeah. And like my growing up, I was more alone. So like, had so much fear put into my eyes from this country bumpkin, freaking racist, sexist dude. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, like that's not what you do. And then say someone like Ian came along and would talk with me and resemble with me, like even although I met him in adult life, I had so much stuff going on that I would talk to him about it, and he would create a common ground. Yeah. And he does that with his son as well, and it builds a relationship so they know that, like, even if they're having a hard time, and as a teenager, like if you're getting on drugs and doing that stuff, if you have no one to talk to about it, you're going to keep doing it because you have influence. Yeah. But if you have someone like a common ground, and your father is usually that person that you can go to, and I feel like even if you didn't grow up in those kind of areas, as a father, you should learn to know what your son could possibly be going through.
Oh, dude, that's your job.
And that's like that in everyday life, as we always talk about mental health. You always got to acknowledge that someone could be going through something that you have no idea for them.
Yeah, of course.
And just because you're someone's parent, you still doesn't mean you can't acknowledge their mental health, because everyone goes through it.
I think that's just like, there are even things that I look at, like in my dad's performance as a father while I was growing up, that like looking at it critically as an adult, I think if I was a father, I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I also have a knowledge in my mind that there are things as an adult that I can appreciate that I didn't intend on doing them this way, but that is a consequence of life.
Yeah.
That is a consequence of doing things and going through fucking different situations and environments and having to make decisions on the fly or whatever. So I think it like now coming into these like, you know, years of where if I'm going to be a father, this is the ultimate time to do it, you know, as the next 5 years or so. So I start thinking about the type of father I want to be, and you have these reflections of all these things that I didn't agree with, you know, because, oh, he could have done this, he could have been there, he could have, Well, you just go, okay, let's start putting in things into practice right now.
Yeah.
You know, like I give Louis three probably 15, 20, 30-minute blocks a day where it's just me and her playing with a toy, just fucking around, me on the ground, all fours, fucking around, because I know there's going to be a day where that might be a little version of me who I need to crawl around with on the floor.
100%.
And I want to have that routine structured in where it's like, no, I'm never too busy to have this.
Yeah.
Because in the middle of Black Ink and its growth phase right now, I can find at least an hour and a half a day for this girl.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And you've already set that out.
Yeah.
That's like, because of course, like, although I'm single, I just want to be a fucking dad. I'm ready. I'm at that stage, you know. But I love hanging out with kids. Like my best friend is 6, so Ian's 3 kids. They're like my little brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So I love them to bits. And like every fortnight, so I take the 11-year-old Darcy to the Cans for Change place.
Yeah.
I save every fortnight. I save all the cans from Lost Bills, and we go take them there. It's our little thing that me and him do, and we have this structure set up. So like he saves some of the money, and then he puts the other into shares.
Oh, yeah.
So getting ready. So by the time he's 18, he's got a structured mind in shares.
Yeah, that's
and
sick.
he can go buy himself a brand new car.
Yeah.
And then Florence, like she's 6, so we go on our gravity dates.
Oh yeah.
You know, we go get shakes.
Go fucking bounce on the trampolines.
Go bounce on the tramps. You know, she's a great wingman.
Oh yeah.
And then like
walking into Woolies and that.
Oh yeah. Hey. And then like even the eldest Alfie, he's awesome. He's 14 and. I'm the cool older brother, so it's cool if I go pick him up from school, you know. Yeah. He's just started listening to dubstep and drum and bass, and I'm so stoked.
You're like, dude, I can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I was like, bro, download SoundCloud now. Screw Spotify, download SoundCloud.
That's where the good shit's
I'm going to give you my mixes. Like, this is my playlist. These are the boys. Listen to Bob Balance.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
But it's like, yeah, man, and it's good, like, because you get to that age where it's like, yeah, I think I'm ready. Like, and I want to put myself in those areas that I can be comfortable in.
I think you just start being aware of certain things, and you're like, oh, now I feel bad when I cut someone off because I realize that like that could be a new parent. You know what I mean? Like stupid thoughts like that, and you're like, what gay thoughts am I having at the moment? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and by the way, I don't mean gay as in homosexual. I mean it as in offensively. All right. You got to make a point about it, otherwise people start thinking that you're being homophobic. I'm not. I'm being offensive. It's totally fucking different. You know what I mean?
If it's offensive, it's comedy.
Like, dude, if you take offense to it, in my book, you're actually gay and retarded. And there's nothing I can do about that. You chose to be that in my mind. You understand? That's how it works.
It might not say it on paper. It's just in your mind.
Yeah, that's right. Where's the manual? She's fucking all up here.
You don't know. You don't know. You haven't seen it yet.
Dude, I'm going to fucking put a cap on this podcast because I am tired as fuck and I need a piss.
Yeah, and knowing us, we literally end up just talking for hours.
Dude, we are 1 hour and 23 minutes in. But
Jesus.
That's a fucking
mind you, that's just like a normal catch up.
And also, I didn't open the podcast at all. We just started talking about microphones and I got I got like 10 minutes in and I'm just like, just run it. It doesn't matter. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the 4th official podcast with a guest on today. We had Matty, who you probably know as a manager from Lost Bills. Make sure you head in on Thursday, Friday and Saturday night for a drink.
Yeah.
Say hello. Said you saw him on the podcast. Share this video. Thanks for stopping by. Be good to your mum because we are fucking out.